3, 2, 1. What's going on, everyone? It's Wednesday, January 29th. That's another Ash Wednesdays. Joining me as always is Forky, a little channel mascot. There's Stan the man. He needs no introduction. He is a legend of the comics. He's the reason we're all here. I got my comics in my little comic box with In and Out. I got my alternate comics beanie that I wear down in the comic shop to represent. I got Luna down there in her little thing. She scratched herself. There's a little dog treat thing. And this is my burger. Today, I'm trying not to... I'm getting older, man. I'm trying not to put on the pounds. So, I gotta... Oh, man, I just broke the box. I'm trying to eat a little healthier. And this is something I did way back in the day when I actually worked at In and Out. And I was eating like In and Out every day. You can get a double meat burger. That means double meat, no cheese. That's how you order them. And it's lettuce and tomato. And I get mustard on top and bottom patty instead of spread. And then you can also grill the patty in mustard. So it's like a really, if you like mustard, it's good. And that's it. I'm going to devour this. We're going to get into some comics. Stan and Forky are going to join me. And I'm going to make them watch me eat. And yeah, stay tuned. As always, thank you so much for indulging me as I eat a burger on my channel. I know a lot of people tune in. They're like, why is this weirdo showing a burger on a comic haul video? For those of you that haven't watched old videos, maybe coming on new, it's a Wednesday tradition for me. I used to live in San Diego. I still do now, but I used to live in San Diego. Back in the early 90s, I actually worked at In-N-Out when I was in my early 20s. And I worked there for 4 years. My favorite burger place. I ended up moving away from California for Colorado for 17 years. And I recently moved back. I went without In-N-Out for all that time. And back in the 90s is when I was really big into comics. So In-N-Out kind of reminds me of that era. The fact that I was missing it all. So I started to create a tradition for myself that I was going to go to the comic book store. Oh, my crops are ready. I was going to go to the comic book store and treat myself to In-N-Out for lunch and just make a kind of an event out of it. So every Wednesday I have something to look forward to. And I encourage you to do the same thing. If you don't have In-N-Out in your area, make your new comic book day, even if you don't go on Wednesday, maybe your new comic book day, you get to the store on a Saturday or something. I don't know. Make an event out of it. Make it special. Like, this is your hobby. You spend good money on it. Don't just make it a trudge. If you find yourself waiting and going, I gotta go to the comic book store, I don't want to go, and you're just like, maybe this isn't the hobby for but I try to keep the enthusiasm going. I know I bitch a lot about comics, but that's because I care about them, right? When things you love are not what they should be or what they could be, you don't like to see it, and so you like to bitch, you like to complain. Or some people do, at least, and complaining comes from the inability to actually do anything. I can't fix the comic industry, and so that's where complaining comes in. But anyways, you didn't come here to hear me complain. You came here to get a comic book haul. As always, show your receipts. Look at that. My New Year's resolution is under $25 a week. I've been doing really good. The comics industry has been making it very easy on me, so thank you, comics industry. Start off, I actually got a free comic today. There's a local guy, apparently, has Floyd Pinkney, Dominique, John, they had an ash can at the store. I don't really know anything about it. Cosmic Savage. Interesting, I don't know, but it's free. And so, hey, I'm looking forward to anything that's free. Even if it's not up to par, like you can look at this cover here and you go, well, it doesn't really look that impressive. That doesn't matter. Like, this comic book was probably made out of love. The fact that they're distributing it for free to give away. These are people that clearly just want to be a part of the industry for the love of comics. I'm not expecting anything earth-shattering. It may not even be good. I don't know. But I'm going to appreciate it because this is someone who has a passion for the hobby as I do and wanted to make their own book, and they did. I didn't make a book, and I didn't pay $50 for it on Indiegogo. Shazing. Starting off on the books that I actually paid for, that are, on the receipt. Indies first. We got a new Usagi Yojimbo. IDW wouldn't be IDW if they weren't trying to bilk fans, with all their licensed properties and stuff they do. They do have their Usagi Yojimbo series, which I like. I'm glad Usagi Yojimbo is in print again. Color Classics is a reprint book. And so this is, I believe, the early Usagi from back when it was with Fantagraphic Books, even way before they went to Dark Horse. This is the stuff that I was buying in the 80s and the 90s. You can see a big difference in the art style. So you get the early stories, and they're all colored, like you see on the cover here. There's also a very short story after that with modern Usagi. So you're actually getting some new content for you old people. You're like, I already have these books. So I do love that. They did this in the past with Classic X-Men. I don't know if anyone remembers Classic X-Men, but bam, those were amazing. I loved getting those back in the 80s. So you could get, as an X-Men fan, because you didn't have trades back then. I mean, they did a trade now and then of something, but I don't even remember. That was really rare. I don't even know. Maybe they didn't have trades. Getting old books was back issues. That was your shot. And Classic X-Men did the old original, well, not the original, but starting in X-Men 94. The X-Men books that no one could afford to get, right? And so they just reprinted the books like you're seeing today. They do like the True Believers or whatever. But instead of being that, they actually started Classic X-Men #1, and they was ongoing. So you started it either Giant Size X-Men or X-Men 94. I think it might have been Giant Size X-Men #1 and then X-Men 94, then go on. But what they did, #1, is they put these beautiful Art Adams covers. So Art Adams basically reimagined the cover of these books off his own ideas. I don't know where they came up, but it was brand new covers. So, and Art Adams is my favorite comic artist of all time. So I got these beautiful covers. They looked amazing. And then at the end of each book, you got the reprint. You got like this little 6-page or however long it was, like mini story. That's a whole new X-Men story. So you got new content too. That is what Marvel needs to bring back. I can imagine them doing like classic Spider-Man, different eras. Like you could do the Walt Simonson Thor, reprint it, all with brand new covers. Put a little short Thor thing, but oh man, people would buy it because old Marvel is actually good. Anyways, I digress. I debated on picking this up because I have these books, but it is in color. It's high quality paper, by the way. I'm not sure about it. It's kind of like almost like magazine quality, like thick magazine quality. It's almost like doesn't feel comic booky. I kind of really miss newsprint, to be honest with you, but it is really high quality paper. It's glossy. Unfortunately, I'm not big on gloss, but the book feels heavy in your hand, and I'll do a review on this book probably. This is something you should pick up. If you don't have this book, absolutely. Usagi Yojimbo is amazing. This is the beginning of his stories, and this is where you could start. Flash, if you know, I picked this up not for me, but for my good friend's daughter, who I think of as my niece, and she likes Flash, so I'm encouraging her. So I picked those up, and benefit is I get to read them too. So there you go. Justice League, number 39. I'm really sad to see Scott Snyder ending his run here. I'm not even sure what he's doing next. I know he's got his indie book, but he's got to have a project at DC. I heard he was doing Justice Society, which I'm looking forward to. I love Scott Snyder. He's one of my favorite writers at DC. I like his style is right up my alley. A lot of people don't like him because he's so over the top and everything is like universe shattering, things like that. But that's why I read comics, right? If I want just a good basic drama, I can pick up a show on Netflix or whatever. Like comics no one used to complain about things like Infinity Gauntlet. Like we were like, yeah, like Scott Snyder writes like that. Like every book he writes is like Infinity Gauntlet. And some people maybe find that tiresome or whatever. And I think part of it's just the modern era. We're so used to like these sitcom, just everyone's standing around talking books, and when Scott Snyder gets all crazy, weird out there, it's like, people can't take it because they're not used to it. But I love it. I think Scott Snyder is Justice League. Yeah. So I'm sad to see him go, even though Venditti's taken over. That's like the best possible scenario of someone taking over. Justice League Dark, James Tynion has been doing a fantastic job. He's leaving the book, but apparently the guy who's taken over, I don't know. I haven't. I've never read any of his stuff. I can't remember his name, but it was recommended to me because I think he's writing one of those horror books over at, who's doing the, what's the name of that company that does like the plot and I can't remember, but my boy Wes is big on all those horror books, and I heard he's a good writer, so I'm stoked that DC seems to be, with at least some of their line, keeping one toe in the quality thing, where they're like, yeah, we're doing this Bendis experiment, but we're not going to completely abandon, the Rebirth era talent that, brought us out of the brink of destruction. So be that as it will, Justice League, I was never a Justice League fan, and this is the best stuff at DC, in my opinion. Then we got X-Men. Unfortunately, Justice League is what I wish X-Men was. I wish someone would go over there and read some Justice League and realize that X-Men is not X-Men. I promised I would give this book 6 issues because of how fantastic House of X and Powers of X was. And it is. I still stand by that. But if you've been watching my videos, man, X-Men number 4, I gave it 1 star. It really tried my patience. It was a bunch of nonsense. The only good book right now is Fallen Angels, and it sadly has really eye-wateringly bad art at times, but at least it's got a good story and good scripts. Brian Hill knows what he's doing. And then finally, over there in Marvel department, the good book that's actually better than the Dawn of X, Donny Cates never fails to deliver, even when Donny Cates is at his worst, which might be Guardians of the Galaxy. It's still really fun comics, and it's worth buying. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy it could have used better art, but I never was bored. I was always enjoying myself. The characters were fun. They were getting on crazy adventures, fighting weird villains, and there was no politics in it. There was no writer injecting themselves into the characters. Like, the characters felt like what they were supposed to be, having fun adventures in crazy outlandish settings. Donny Cates knows how to write comics. He's still polishing his writing skills as far as drama and just being able to, write like an emotional story, but he's getting there, and his stuff, he's kind of the Marvel equivalent of Scott Snyder, in my opinion. Both of those guys, to me, are like the big idea guys. Those are the guys you want to read the books to just be like, what kind of crazy scenario and idea are these guys going to come up with? Both of them think kind of outside the box and do crazy things. Witness Thor here. We're seeing a whole different Thor, no longer the unworthy Thor, not tied down to any of that other BS. Donny Cates doesn't waste any time starting a brand new story with Thor being now a Herald of Galactus, and you're just like, oh, well, that's interesting. Haven't seen that before. Super cosmic. This obviously seems to be going down the direction of a super cosmic line. I really enjoyed the first issue. I'm excited to see what Donny Cates does because I'm a huge Thor fan. I'm not a big, to be honest with you, I don't really, if you would have told me 6 months ago, like, oh, he's going to do Herald, I would have been like, oh, that sounds dumb, Herald of Galactus. But Donny Cates makes it work. He sells these things, and he's like, yeah, I know it seems weird. It's not really the direction you really wanted to go, but just hear me out. Just humor me. And I'm like, all right. You did good. You took Venom, a character I gave 2 shits about, and you made him super compelling. And you made Eddie Brock, more importantly, a character I care about. So these are my books this week. Let me fan them out so you can, or I can at least, do the thing that I always do that no one seems to really care about anyway. But I like it. You can see all the books I got. I just was in between eating my burger. I was watching Zach's video, his new video. He talks about like there's nothing worth getting at the store, and I'm like, what? Where? That's worth getting. It's Sagio Jimbo. This Flash. 87 issues of Josh Williamson writing some of the best comics. No one cares about because it's Flash, but it's great comics. Justice League Dark. James Tynion. Oh, sorry, that's Justice League Dark. Scott Snyder's Justice League. Great. That's great. This is the only book here, which, by the way, Forky. And, Stan, what you gonna do, Stan? Well, I mean, I already read this in the past. I know that's amazing. I'm not gonna count Usagi. Stan's gonna ride with his boy Donnie Cates here, who is a big Stan fan and is, I think, Donnie really honors Stan's legacy. That's a book you should check out. But honestly, any of these books besides X-Men, which I'm going to let change, maybe it changed mine. R.B. Silva's back, by the way. None of this crappy Lionel Francis Yu. I'm really looking forward to looking at art that doesn't completely suck. So that's it. Tell me what you think's best. Tell me what you think's going to be the worst. Put down in the comments, somewhere down there, what you think I should be buying, what you're buying, whatever you want to talk about the new comics. This is the best day of the week, in my opinion. What are you enthused about in the comics industry? Like, what books are really kind of like you're excited and you're happy about and you can't wait for the next issues? I like to hear about that. I think all of us talking like that, word of mouth is the way to really support these books and get the books that are really good. We communicate with each other. We tell each other what we should be buying and communicate what are the ones to just skip that are trash, so we don't waste our money. Because look at that, my burger costs less than any of these books. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate every single view. I know you've got a million different, literally millions of other videos you could watch with your time. So the fact that you're here right now watching this video is something I do not take lightly. And so thank you very much for being a part of the conversation and enjoying good comics. I will see you next time.